That's not the right song.
So what can I say that hasn't already been said about this amazing show? Well, not much really, but nevertheless, I just must. This is a video that I've been, I've had it in mind for like 10 years, so I mean, I guess it's about time. And this is no doubt one of the most nostalgic things from my childhood. Magically, it just holds up, it's just wow. It's not your average superhero kid show, that's for sure. This will always be one of the best animated shows, no doubt. But what made it so great? I mean, it's amazing scripts, animation, characters. The overall style, it's just so captivating. This show just really brought Batman to life. These scores, I can play them in my head. Anyways, where was I? Intro. Voice acting. No, I mean, voice acting. Yeah, that's pretty good as well. I mean, not to mention that. So the casting director mentioned that they wanted to cast these actors with characters in their voice.
We cast a lot of actors who have what we call a voice with character. And so when we cast, for example, Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon, every time he opens his mouth, you know that's Commissioner Gordon.
Listen here, you simpering little twit.
I never get tired of the show, ever, and I've been struggling with putting this list together for 10 years because just, it's not easy there. I mean, there's so many great episodes. I was always going to do 15. That was my goal, but somehow it ended as 16. But with no further ado, I do believe as of today that this, ladies and gentlemen, is the top 16 best episodes of Batman, the animated series. Number 16, The Demon's Quest. This one is really eerie, and it starts off very interesting. Like the titles are different and tells you that some stuff is about to go down. It definitely does. I mean, Robin's been kidnapped. Batman is doing this detective thing, as he's being called by Ra's al Ghul. Detective. I remember watching this one on TV when I was a kid. The second part, it just felt so epic, and it was like it was always going on and on and on, like it was a movie or something. Number 15, Joker's Favor. My god, how often I watched this one. I had it on VHS when I was a kid. The Joker comes across this guy, little old nobody, who's just having a bad day. It all gets worse when he challenges the Joker out on the open road. The Joker's character really shines in this episode with his scary presence at the beginning, the crazy funny clown who sees all of this as one big joke. I always laughed at the part where he shows the picture of Michael after describing him to his friends. And this episode also marks the first appearance, ever of the ever so amazing Harley Quinn. It's also worth mentioning that there have been 3 Joker episodes prior to this one. In the first 9 episodes, they used him 3 times. Here we are at the 22nd episode. It felt like in the beginning they were the Joker is a good villain, let's just use him again. But here they really nailed just about everything. One thing also that stands out in this episode, like with so many others, is the score. Doom, 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 doom. This episode ends with a bang as the little old nobody just confronts the Joker and gets the best of him. And even gets a little chuckle from Batman, who really seemed to have gotten the joke. This is a classic little tale of a bullied kid getting back at their bully. That's something that I can relate to for sure. Number 14, Old Wounds.
And what a wound it seemed to be. And Robin, now Nightwing, had gone through some traumatic things in childhood, being put in tights and made to fight crime alongside a man who believed he was a big giant bat.
One of the highlight episodes from the new Batman Adventures. This is the story of the downfall of a great dynamic duo, and it tells it in great fashion. Speaking of fashion, look at Barbara Gordon, she's got it going on, Anyway, I just love that they made an episode dedicated to this, and to have Robin punch Batman and throw away his cape and glasses. Right. Number 13, The Man Who Killed Batman.
An underdog story, let me tell you.
I wasn't originally going to put in here, but then I just realized that there's so much to say about this episode that it really has to be good, right? This is another episode about a little old nobody, but this little old nobody doesn't just get the best out of someone supposedly superior. Oh no, this time a guy named Sid, the squid, is thought to have iced the Batman. Something that just happened by accident, but he really rises to stardom in the underworld of Gotham as the one and only man to be able to take down the Bat. With all this being a great start to the episode, the real highlight here is when the Joker comes along after hearing sad news, and he's not taking it really well. Because it seems crime has no punchline anymore. This really showcases the great complexities of the infamous clown. He ends up taking the news so badly when it really seems that the Bat is no more, that he just orders a funeral for Batman, which is just laughable. Of course, orders the guy to be killed who supposedly set all this in motion. But, you know, guys, Batman, of course, he isn't dead. He saves Sid the Squid, and the episode ends with Sid feeling the heat too much and asks Cooper Thorne for help. Thorne doesn't believe that Sid can be so lucky and threatens to only help send him away chopped in a box. Well, that sounds lovely. Anyways, Batman shows up and saves Sid once again. Shows up in all his glory with a bad music playing, but this time with a church-like theme showcasing the fact that he was thought to be dead. Batman, of course, just destroys Thorne and explains the fact that he was pretending to be dead, and Sid ends up going to prison and is still thought to be a big shot. And this will be remembered as the day that he almost iced the Bat.
This is the day that you will always remember as the day that you...
Number 12, Night of the Ninja.
Night of the Ninja! Hoi!
You know, another episode that I rarely see on any lists. I wonder why. This is the story about an old rival from Bruce Wayne's day of training as a ninja. This is an episode I saw very young, and the first time I saw Robin on screen, he was really a favorite of mine back in the days. I was fond of underdogs like that, and, you know, he was such a badass in this episode, for, you know, at least for me watching as a kid. No one's gonna fillet Batman when I'm around! My mom was terribly worried about me when I was a kid because I preferred Robin to Batman at that time, and she was just like, what did I do wrong in this upbringing? What's wrong with this kid? Well, probably lots of things, but I can tell you now, Mom, if you're watching, which I assume you are because I'm going to send you the link, and if you don't, I'm going to be really mad, but the fact is that, no, to this day, you know, nowadays, I don't prefer Robin to Batman, so, you know, rest assured, you can sleep well, yeah. Anyways, there's a lot to like here. Flashbacks from Bruce Wayne's past, Bruce and Robin training, and Bruce taking on an old rival that was the only one who was able to beat him back in the days when he was training. Number 11, his Silicon Soul. Wow, what an episode this is. Batman versus Batman, and this one is really underrated as well. I rarely see it on lists like this. This episode also features nods to like Blade Runner and Terminator.
I remember names, faces, birthdays. I have memories, a past.
Those aren't your memories, they're somebody else's.
How could it not be great? I remember watching this over and over. Evil Batman versus good Batman, it's just like, oh my god, what a party. It's also very deep in thought process of this machine can have feelings. Number 10, Two-Face. Yet again, they hit us with something bold and dark. They hit it out of the park with the origin of Two-Face. What a dark episode indeed.
I'm a Batman, but just on this side is good, you know, but I have to flip like a coin.
Harvey Dent was already an established character in the show, but having appeared in 2 episodes prior as a district attorney and a Bruce Wayne's friend, but this time around he's also Big Bad Harvey, struggling with another personality that comes across when he's triggered, and it's just like this larger-than-life bad guy, and it's a great telling story of how he loses himself to the other personality, and that being hard enough to see, we also experience the struggle Bruce Wayne goes through having not been able to save his dear friend. This episode explores the demons of Harvey Dent and does it in a very tragic way, you know, for him to have lost his fiancée, and, you know, he was very successful, and just all goes down the drain. My god. Number 9. Dreams in Darkness. This is an episode with Batman locked up in Arkham. I thought to have gone insane. My god, just brilliant. It starts off with an amazing flashback to how this all happened. Very nice little voiceover by Kevin Conroy. I love that. But how come I never see this one in any of these lists? It's just, wow. So this one is an underrated one as well, for sure. But of course, who could have been behind all this madness? Of course, none other than the Master of Fear himself, the Scarecrow.
Tell me where the trigger is. I need the trigger.
Number 8, Heart of Ice. This is one that's in every list, and for a good reason. This is just a fantastic episode, and we all know it. Great backstory and a depth to Mr. Freeze.
This episode is really chilling.
This is the 14th episode in the series, and it feels like they were really coming together to create an animation like a top notch, and the creative team behind the Spectrum at the time, they even having money problems after this episode because they, just went overboard with things. It's worth mentioning here that this is the first time that Mr. Freeze feels like a really compelling character, not just some kind of joke like in the old Adam West series, which of course, has its charm. They really came together and created this heavy backstory and compelling character, so kudos to Bruce Timm and the team. So like I said, he was usually played a little bit for laughs and such, and of course he comes back in Batman and Robin, more true to what he was used to being represented, and even though they still took this backstory that we get in this episode here and use it there. At least we got a phenomenal episode here. Wait a minute, it's on backwards, the bat signal! So, of course, everything here is just phenomenal, much better than Batman and Robin, any day of the week, twice on Sunday even, and even the final fight in this one is better than in the movie. Number 8. Number 7. Over the Edge. My god, this episode just captivates you right from the start. It starts with a blast. Bruce Wayne and his kid warrior are running for their lives during a fight with a Scarecrow. Batgirl supposedly dies, but to make things worse, she falls onto her father's car. Talk about a dramatic scene.
They sure do go over the edge there, man.
Gordon, of course, magically finds out who Batman is, and when he attempts to capture him, he fails and calls on Bane for help. I mean, that's just, wow, what an episode. It's one of those things that, it has to end in a fashion that's, you don't really want it to end like that. But how could it end in any other way to have it make sense? But just throw all of that aside, it's just, what an episode. Number 6, Feet of Clay. This one is truly epic, dramatic, interesting, animation, brilliant. One of those great scores that just really make this a story to remember. It's tragic. It's really tragic. It's haunting even. Wow. The animation in the second part when he's seeing himself on screen and like going in circles and just like everything's going bananas. There's so much to like here. This is just one of those testaments to why this show is such a great show. This one just has everything. Number 5. I Am the Night. The tone and the animation of this episode sets it apart right away. It's like you're not sure, like, is this really an episode from Batman the Animated Series? It starts by Batman sitting there at the beginning with seemingly no will to go on. And everything about this vibe, it's just so, oh, wow, this is weird, it's different. This episode circles around Bruce Wayne questioning why he does what he does and why he should be doing it anyways. Is he even making things better? Is he maybe just making them worse? There's definitely an argument for this one as number 1 because it's so different. The vibe about it, it's so dark and weird. I want to go rewatch this one right now because it's just something about it that's captivating and interesting. I watched this one much later, like I watched the series on TV when I was a kid, but I was in my early teens or something when I watched this one for the first time, and it was just like, this is different, and it really is. It just takes on this element that's weird for a kids show to delve into, and how long can he stare into the abyss until it starts staring at him right back? Wow, what an abyss, let me tell you.
Aha!
Number 4, Almost Got Him.
So they're just sitting around playing poker and talking about how they almost got Batman, sharing their stories. And seeing the villains in that kind of setting discussing these things, it just puts things in a different perspective somehow in it. It's just to see it from their side and not being the villains, really. They're just being themselves, playing cards, and then we get to these short stories.
Almost got him.
Number 3, Perchance to Dream. This is the episode where Batman is no longer Batman, but Batman is still Batman and Bruce Wayne is still Bruce Wayne. What? Bruce Wayne wakes up in a world where he's not Batman, but Batman is still out there fighting crime. His parents are alive and he's engaged to Selina Kyle. Wow, what a dream. And, well, spoiler alert, it is one. It's no ordinary dream. This one really feels real. This is an episode that really captivates you. My favorite scene is where Bruce Wayne finds out he is truly stuck in a dream. It's a scene that always sticks with me. He's trying to read, but he can't. And he goes from book to book, But there's no way he can read any of it. It's explained to us that the fact that you can't read in a dream, because that's a function from another side of the brain. I remember once dreaming something that made me question if it was a dream or not. Because like I couldn't remember how I got there. It's like all of a sudden I woke up in a classroom, and then I went to the toilet and took up a book and just to see if I could read or not. And well, it felt like I actually could, but then I woke up. Anyways, fantastic episode that ends in an epic fight in a clock tower where Bruce Wayne takes on Batman. And as you can hear from my dream, that's just something that sticks with me. Number 2, Mad Love. And how mad it is indeed. This is a true gift to the fans of the show, giving us the origin story of this amazing Joker girl, Harley Quinn, which they created, and they surely do not disappoint with the answers on how she became Harley Quinn. In previous episodes, they had hinted on things, but this time around, they really fleshed it out and dedicated an episode to the really toxic relationship between her and the Joker. This is just something that sticks with me, and how Batman seems to understand this toxic relationship and uses it to his advantage is very interesting as well. It just doesn't get really any better than this. Yeah, this is the true highlight for me from the new Batman adventures, which I don't appreciate as much as I do, of course, the 92 to 95, just the Batman. But it still has some truly great episodes. Number 1, Robin's Reckoning. I feel I might be a bit biased, because I was really a big fan of Robin in this show back in the days when I was a kid. Still, this is not an episode that I would have put on top as a kid. It didn't feature any of the top villains. It just focuses on how and why Batman takes in an orphan and how their relationship has developed through the years. Maybe this just really fascinates me. It's very hard to put an episode at number 1 in such a grandiose... I mean, there's a reason this one won an Emmy. Just this dynamic between Batman and Robin. It's not just a story about Robin. It's really a story about Batman as well. His reasonings for taking Robin in, him struggling with the loss of his parents, identifying himself, seeing something of himself in Dick Grayson and taking him in, and all of those things.
What I really like about this episode is the fact that Batman is a person that lost his parents. He's fighting crime, so no one else has to relive this kind of thing. And he takes Robin in, he takes Dick Grayson in, because he wants to be able to give him a good home, a stable life. In a way, he feels guilty about the fact that he wasn't able to prevent these things. And that's pretty traumatic for him, because he doesn't want anyone else to relive this. So if you like this, please subscribe, like this video, because it helps the algorithm of things, or so I've heard. And also, if you would like me to do anything else in this series, or whatever, let's say you would like my take on the worst episodes in the series, or top Joker episodes ranked, or something like that. Yeah, those are ideas that have crossed my mind. So I mean, and yeah, share your ideas, share your list down below. Anything. Let's have a friendly discussion. Where is the trigger?